Why is it that some people walk into a home, make an offer, and walk away feeling like they just won the deal of their life, while others, looking at similar homes in the same market, end up paying far more than they should, and don't even realize it until it's too late? At first, it feels like luck, maybe timing, maybe money. But when you look closer, you start to notice something else. The difference isn't in the house, it's not even in the market, it's in the approach. Because real estate isn't just about finding a home, it's about understanding how the deal actually works. And most people never learn that part. The process usually starts the same way for everyone. You browse listings, you find something that looks right, good photos, clean design, the kind of place you can instantly imagine living in. And without realizing it, you begin to picture your life there, the morning light through the windows, where your furniture would go, how it would feel to call it yours. That's the moment everything shifts, because the second a house feels like the one, you stop thinking like a buyer and start thinking like an owner. And from that point on, every decision becomes just a little bit more emotional, a little bit more rushed, and a little bit more expensive. What most people don't realize is that while they're focusing on the house, the other side is focused on something else entirely. They're thinking about timing, pressure, urgency, because every seller has a reason for selling, and that reason quietly shapes how flexible they're willing to be. Sometimes it's obvious, a relocation, a financial need, a deadline, but sometimes it's hidden and only shows up in small signals. A delayed response, a sudden change in tone, a willingness to consider an offer they would have rejected before. If someone needs to move quickly, if they've already committed to another property, or if the home has been sitting on the market longer than expected, there's pressure there, and pressure changes conversations. It opens doors that wouldn't exist otherwise. But if the seller's comfortable testing the market or emotionally attached, then suddenly the same conversation becomes much harder, which means the smartest buyers don't just evaluate the property, they read the situation behind it. Because once you understand that, you're no longer guessing, you're positioning. And positioning becomes even more important during the moment most people get wrong. The moment they start talking, because it's natural to express excitement, to say, this feels perfect, or this is exactly what I've been looking for. But the moment that happens, something subtle shifts. The balance of power moves, because now it's clear that you want the house, and when the other side knows that, they don't feel the same need to adjust. That's why experienced buyers do something that feels almost unnatural. They stay neutral, measured, calm, even when they like the property. Not because they don't care, but because they understand that every word carries weight. In a negotiation, what you don't say often matters more than what you do. That's also why silence becomes such a powerful tool. Because most people rush to fill it, they explain their offer, they justify their reasoning, they try to make everything make sense, they keep talking, hoping clarity will help. But in doing so, they remove the one thing that creates pressure, space. Because when you make an offer and allow silence to sit, the other side has to think. They start questioning, reevaluating, sometimes even negotiating against their own expectations. And that shift doesn't come from saying more, it comes from holding back. As the process continues, another pattern starts to appear. Most buyers are drawn to the same types of homes. The ones that look finished, polished, move-in ready. The ones that require nothing and promise comfort immediately. And naturally, those homes attract the most attention, which creates competition, and competition quietly pushes prices up. Because when multiple people want the same thing, negotiation becomes limited. Choices shrink, and suddenly paying more feels justified. But the buyers who consistently get better deals tend to look in a different direction. Not at damaged properties, not at risky ones, but at homes that are simply overlooked. The ones that don't create instant excitement, but hold quiet potential. Maybe the presentation isn't perfect. Maybe the lighting in the photos feels off. Maybe the design feels slightly outdated. Nothing major, just enough for most people to scroll past. And that's exactly where the opportunity sits. Because with less attention comes less competition. And with less competition comes flexibility, which means the value isn't always in what the home is today, but in what it can become with a few smart changes. Around this point, timing begins to play a bigger role than most people expect. Because markets move in cycles, There are moments when everything feels fast, when listings disappear quickly, and decisions feel urgent. And then there are moments when things slow down, when homes sit longer, when prices start adjusting, when sellers become more open. The challenge is that most people enter the market during the busiest moments because that's when activity is highest. But activity doesn't always mean advantage. Sometimes the real advantage comes from recognizing when the pace changes and aligning your decisions with that shift, even waiting a little longer or moving a little earlier can completely reshape the outcome. Even a small difference in timing can create a completely different result. As negotiations get closer to the finish line, another misunderstanding tends to show up. The idea that the deal is only about price, because on the surface, that's what it looks like. But in reality, price is just one part of a much larger equation. There are closing costs, repairs and inclusions, timelines, even small details like who pays for what, or when something gets fixed, can quietly shift thousands in value. Terms that can be adjusted in ways that don't always show up in the headline number, but still affect the total deal. And in many cases, when price feels fixed, these are the areas where real savings are found, which is why experienced buyers don't just ask, how do I lower the price? They ask, how do I improve the entire deal? And all of this leads to one final shift, one that quietly determines how everything else plays out. Control. Because in any negotiation, control doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from needing less. The moment a deal feels like something you can't walk away from, your flexibility disappears, you overlook details, you accept terms you normally wouldn't, you move forward even when something feels slightly off. But when you maintain the ability to step back, even briefly, everything changes. Clarity returns, confidence returns, decisions become sharper. And interestingly, that's often the moment when the deal starts working in your favor. Because when pressure leaves your side, it often appears on the other. And the most surprising part in all of this is how quietly the difference shows up. There's no obvious signal that says, this was a bad deal, no clear moment where someone points it out. It happens in small ways. A slightly higher number, a missed opportunity to ask one more question, a detail that wasn't negotiated, a moment where emotion replaced strategy. Individually, they seem minor, but together, they shape the entire outcome. Which is why understanding this process matters so much. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start noticing patterns, you recognize moments where others rush, and you pause. You see where pressure exists, and you use it, and slowly, the experience changes. Because buying a home isn't just about finding the right place, it's about making the right decisions at the right moments, with the right awareness. And in the end, the people who get the best deals aren't the luckiest. They're the ones who understand how the game is played. So before you step into your next deal, remember this. It's not about how much you offer. It's not about how perfect the home looks. And it's definitely not about rushing to secure something before it's gone. It's about how you think, how you position yourself, and how you respond when it matters most. Because in real estate, you don't get what you hope for. You get what you negotiate.